Guess what? Java isn't as friendly as Python, and neither is C++. When we're getting input from the keyboard, we have to declare this scanner. We're saying that we want the default input from the operating system, and we create a keyboard object, which means it's a container of code. To get to the actions in that object, just like in Python, we call a function. This is all methods. This is all built into Java. We haven't created methods or anything yet, but we will. We'll do functions and methods in Python, and we'll do it here, and we'll do the same thing in C++. So if I do next int, when you have a line of code, when you're typing in something, like I type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at the end of every line, when you're entering information, you press the enter key. Well, the enter key just isn't a magic key that goes to the next line. It actually is a code that we call the end of line character. We don't need to know this in Python because Python handles all this in the background. However, Java, for whatever reason, they don't consume that end of line character. What it does is, let me comment this out. If you ask for an integer or a double or whatever, doesn't matter, any number, and then you ask for a string, oh, I have two keyboard next, there we go. So to get a string from the command prompt, one of the ways to do it in Java is to use the next line to get a key, to get a string, like my name. So let's get my age. 42. Oh. Why did it do that?
Oh, there's something commented about the code, I think.
It did this because when I press the enter key, I'm actually inserting what's called an end of line character. So it's a character you can't see. But when you press the enter key, that inserts a character, and that character tells the console, go to the next line, but it's actually a character. Everything on the screen is a character. The space is a character. You just can't see it. It's not displayed in the console. So if I type in 42, the next int takes in all the ints, but it doesn't take that enter mark out, which means that when I get to this next one, this consumes the enter mark and then it's done. It doesn't give you a chance to type it in. How's that for weird? You think that's weird? It is. It's just one of those weird things. But it does give you the what actually is going on. When you're typing anything in and you press the enter key, like right here, you don't see it, but there's an end of line character. All these spaces, there's a space character. It's just not a viewable or printable character under normal circumstances. You can show hidden characters in Word. I don't know if you can show it here because this is basically a notepad. But if you go to Word, for example, and I use this all the time when I'm trying to figure out what in the world is going on with that program. I mean, that document. So this follows the same rules, but we have this little guy here that says show, hide, paragraph formatting, all that stuff. So here's what it looks like in Word. That's the end of line character. There's a tab character. I don't see a, yeah, in between each of these words, there's a space character. So each of those is considered a character. And when you tell Java to get the next line, well, it goes clear to the end and it actually consumes that enter mark because that enter mark is not an integer, is it? It's like a string. Yeah, I don't know. Python handles it. Other languages handle it. What's up with Java? Who knows? That's how they wrote it. So if I'm trying to figure out what somebody's doing, I'll turn this on so I can see, oh yeah, they use tabs or they use spaces to line things up, that kind of stuff. All right, so how do we take care of that? The line I commented out consumes that end of line character, and then we can do the string. Well, the other way to get around that is get all your strings first and then get your numbers. That's the other way you get around that. Make
So
sense?
It just consumes the end of line and doesn't save it anywhere, just does this
Yeah, see, I
handling
just have-
for us.
I have keyboard dot next line. I'm not
It's-
assigning it
It's
to
not
a variable.
assigning anywhere.
So I'm just consuming it and throwing it away.
Yeah. So this is the way how to handle end of lines.
It is a little different, but then I don't have, all the other languages I've ever used don't have this peculiarity.
Okay.
C++ handles input in lots of interesting ways, but it doesn't necessarily have this quirk.
Yeah,
But
that's
it does have its own quirks. So I consume the next line and then. And notice that in most programs I use, and I was gonna point this out to Andy. Andy, your code is great, but one of the things stylistically that I'd suggest is notice what I've done different with my code. Than what you do. I put an enter mark between each of the major sections.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, sometimes I do that, but it's not, I don't always immediately think of it.
No, I just was saying as far as readability,
Yeah, it helps, I know.
it's not a bad idea. And if we look down here at like the code written by people who actually know what they're doing, which would be people not like me, they use the same method. See how they put spaces, they have lots of comments. This is a good reference for good formatting. And if you look at the internal code of Python that's written in Python, it'll be the same thing. Arduino libraries, the Arduino code, if you get into their standard library, written very much the same. Because each of those have many people working on it. And so they want it to be very clear. So this is just a suggestion, to put put lines between things. Because that helps as you're reading, group things together. Commenting also helps. The only thing I commented in here is the part that's the important part of this program, which is next int, and it could be next double. Doesn't matter. Anytime you're getting a number, which, yeah, literally it's just next double. I think it's next double. Yeah, probably it is. And that's the only part of this. I just happened to see this and I thought, oh, there's a good one.